Men do everything to impress a woman, whether it is climbing Mount Everest, going to the moon, or becoming a rock star. Men do everything to impress women. The Taj Mahal was built for a woman. Imagine the designer homes, power suits, driving a nice car. Men can go to any extent to love a woman, to woo a woman. However, the same woman, what if she is the reason behind his failure, behind robbing him of his dignity or bank balance or making him psychologically sick? Romantic love, they say, is closest to the soul, is closest to the epicenter of the heart. What if a woman completely disregards a man, cheats him, manipulates him, and kind of completely ruins him? They say this behind the success of every man is a woman. Unfortunately, behind the failure of any man is also a woman. Many of my friends, guys, complain to me that Sarah only deals with issues or causes related to women, but does not address issues of them, that is men, exploitation of men by women, by the fairer sex. So today here I am to deal with your issues, foolish men who are exploited, manipulated by the fairer sex. So you see, Sarah looks like a woman but can think like a man. Are you a foolish young bachelor who was cheated by a young woman who took him for a ride, had an affair with him, and then dumped him for the next powerful man on the block? Or perhaps you are a married man who got married to this beautiful girl thinking that she was the love of his life, only to realize later that she was a drama queen and created a lot of disharmony in your family. Or perhaps you are a middle-aged man who is on a free trip. So you got involved with a mistress of spices. You were foolish, so she cheated you and later threatened to blackmail you. Or perhaps you are a foolish, mighty man in an important business position, perhaps a government official, a diplomat, or a politician, or in the armed forces, and you were seduced by a woman, and during pillow talk, you let out powerful information of your business and got completely red-handed and executed. To know how foolish men behave and get trapped by women, by the seductress of temptation, by the devil of temptation, and how they behave, we have a man to hear it from the horse's mouth. We have with us Karun Sharma. According to a Chinese saying, the strength of the bow decides the flight of the arrow. The bow is the woman and the flight of the arrow is the man. If the bow is crooked or bent, then quite likely then the arrow cannot go very far. It is said that success of every man there is a woman. However, unfortunately, behind the failure of every man also is a woman. Today we have with us our guest of honor, Mr. Karun Sharma, who is a chemical engineer as well as someone who's worldwide traveled to Europe and SAARC countries like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and has contributed to environmental and climatic change. So we have that he's also now a life coach who is dealing with people and processes and enabling the management rules and regulations and bringing them to the lives of people to make it better. Mr. Karun Sharma. Welcome Karun to Sarah, She Is Just Like You. It's a great pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah.
Karun, as you know, I introduced about how men, in various aspects and scenarios of their life, they get manipulated, they get cheated and tempted, due to various reasons, and sometimes they give in to their temptations and get into this process of joyride to really, taking it in a trip of fantasy. So what can you say about that? Why do men, get so easily tricked by the lures of a woman?
Yeah, the question is very relevant and very well asked. I must say that when a man tries to look at only a superficial part of the whole thing which is being sold out, maybe the seduction is a skill and it is being sold out. In Western country, especially Cuba, they practice seduction as a skill. So it is not only the women who seduce or who sell, it's the men also who sell. Now it becomes a little more important for men to see that this is a seduction and what is going to be the long-term effect of it. And he has to take a composite, holistic action and decision to see that he is not put into a harmful situation or the negative situation. Maybe it becomes interesting to understand that a lot of people start thinking about the love. They say that love at first sight, I'm fascinated by the whatever seduction it has come from the women. It has been described there are three kinds of love, and it starts with physiological, which is only physical. When a woman shows her body, shows her curves, and when men get attracted, so it becomes only up to physical, and it stops at that place where we can consider it to be a physical, sex-related or gender-related things. But when it reaches to soul, psychological, and when the man starts thinking in totality, he is considering his long-term gains, considering his own goals, considering his own awareness, then it's different. Then it is not easy for him to get attracted or get pulled by the women's seduction. So the men should try to consider it is better they slow down and think in totality the where this action may take that to. If he doesn't use his brain, if he doesn't use his intellect, then he might be making a wrong decision. So it is extremely important for a man, whenever he comes across such invites for which he needs to take a decision, he should slow down and think in totality what the impact, what the ultimate end it can bring down to this particular invitation if he accepts and behaves the same way as it is being projected by that lady or women.
Why is it, Karun, that you think that sometimes it happens that a Romeo or a person of a very shallow and a weak character, or like perhaps a jerk, is behaving like this? One can understand. But what about men who are mighty, worthy, men of great repute and honor, and they are toppled by the devil of temptation or seduction, and they behave in a manner which is like completely unaware to themselves, and then they kind of bring about a lot of shame to their name. So why is it that roadside Romeo, as well as a man of worthy might and honor, also sometimes falls into this trap of lure and temptation?
The question is extremely relevant in the sense that why a man gets attracted to a woman. And if you go back to our Indian mythology, where it says when first time the woman was created in universe, it was the Brahma who was the god of creation, and he created it. And he himself, when he created a woman, and after taking permission of Lord Shiva and Vishnu, and the woman came to his nearby environment, the Brahma became so attached and so infatuated by the woman whom he himself has created or given a birth, that he looked at her in a different way, in a way where there was a clear kind of physical meeting of each other. And Brahma was considered to have done wrong with the lady, with his own daughter, and this created a lot of disturbance. And if you say that there is no temple of Brahma is there in India except that one temple, so I'm saying it is a very natural process that man gets attracted to women. Woman is made like this, which has curves, which has fragrance, which has qualities which comes as a charm, that men automatically get attracted to a woman. Now, a person of repute, a person who can lose his senses and then starts looking at the woman only as a sex object or only as a physical object, it may so happen that without looking at the totality, if he starts advancing towards women, it can lead to those kind of consequences which may not be good for him as a man. So it's extremely important for a man to keep his senses intact so that he knows what is woman and what is man, and then work with the strength of a man. Man himself, is made of feminine as well as masculine qualities. Similarly, woman is also made of masculine as well as feminine qualities. Ultimately, man has to use those qualities which will make him aware about his own strength and stop him in doing something wrong to the society and to himself.
Karun, why is it, that sometimes men are aware of the fact that they are being cheated by a woman, manipulated by their own wife or perhaps their own, girlfriend, but despite that they continue to allow that person to, cheat him? Is it because they are so used to that toxic relationship that they do not want to let go of the person, or is it because of enlightened machism, that you want to kind of, really agree to whatever the woman says? Once upon a time, the Buddha was crossing the river with his disciples, bhikkhus, and they kind of, saw a woman who was drowning. So the Buddha immediately went there and saved her. He lifted her and brought her to the shore. To this, the bhikkhus, the disciples said, "Oh God, the Buddha has gone off track. He is given up his aesthetic practice, and he is going to perhaps, is being misled by a woman. He went and he touched a woman." So to this, the Buddha said, "I lifted the woman and dropped her by the shore, but you are still carrying her in your mind." So this is what is the mind, basically. I feel that where the toxins or the kind of wrong belief system kind of really sets in.
Absolute truth. What you are saying is absolutely in line with what is happening around. So I mean to say that a man, when he has a hunger, so his hunger, if he is hungry, he will go to left or right to find any way of eating that thing. So culturally it does happen that in Asian countries we are actually too much suppressed about this sex desire and sex education. So it remains within us, and when it comes with these kind of machoism where the people want to show off and get the sex at any cost. This doesn't happen in Western country or developed country, because those people, for them, the sex and the physical relationship is not such a big taboo. They do enter into a relationship much before than what we are surprised. हमारे यहाँ तो 25 years का ब्रह्मचर्य पालन करने की बात करते हैं, but there right now the trend has changed. You see, the exposure has become so much that unless you try to prepare the people beforehand and say that now if the situation comes you should be ready to do that, then only it may be possible for you to have a control. People try to look for a short-term gains. People find there something is there in front of them and they want to grab and eat that. Now this culture will go only when their internal appetite is contained, and this internal appetite contained can happen two ways. Either you get overfilled, you overeat and then you don't feel like eating, or you have a super controlled in your life, in your senses, that you can't go for it. You have given a very right example of Lord Buddha, and I must say that Buddha was knowing that this is going to happen with his colleagues, with his disciples. Why? Because the extent to which Buddha has risen, these people, bhikshus or Buddha, have not risen. So he has doubted. He was very sure that this can happen in coming life to come. So he said, in fact, one of the kind of interactions, the bhikshus asked, Buddha, if you come across a bhikshuni who is coming up, what should we do? Shall we see to her? Buddha said, no, try to avoid. Then again person asked, said, if we have to see, then how do we see that? He said, if it is possible, you keep your eyes down and go. Third thing was similar what you have given an example, where when Lord Buddha lifted the lady, he said कि अगर किसी को बचाने के लिए किसी भी और तरीके से somehow if we have to touch the lady, what shall we have to do? He said, if you are going to do that, be totally aware that what are you going to do, and consider the two bodies. One body is touching, helping each other. So it's extremely important for us to know this has been our history, this has been our culture. For a man, women had been a weakness. The only thing is, if man becomes mature in controlling the whole of his abilities and his senses, then he has done the job. Otherwise, he may fall prey to such small things which keep on happening, like waves in the sea, waves in the ocean. So if you try to control it, you may have to take it in totality, the sense that what is deeper, what is holistic, what is bigger thing, and then try to do it, it will be done. You may have to slow down, you may have to look for short-term gains to long-term gains, but you can do it.
Karun, what do you think happens, at the home front when a woman turns out to be a drama queen, or a gold digger, or a mistress of spices, where she kind of seduces a man and kind of leads to his breakup of home? What should be his take, or how he should exercise cautious and prudence in order to be able to safeguard himself against such a woman?
Yeah, this is extremely important, because for building the house, for maintaining the infrastructure or everything as a relationship is concerned, typically we describe home is full of love and affection, values, respect for each other. It will be essential for a man to have a dialogue with women and the vice versa, where he should try to say what is lacking, what should be improved. So a improved communication, talking about that this, if continued, can lead to the breakage of house, breakage of the relationship, should be done. But once it happens that one of the person concerned, or maybe women in this case, what we are talking about, refuses to accept those conditions, then it may be better idea not to further endanger the family life to a level where it's not going to be good for neither of them. Stephen Covey says, begin with end in mind. So if you are very clear that your house is going to be burned, your house is going to be destroyed, then better take precaution. Say no, say bye-bye to them, because you have found a person who is home breaker, who is a goal breaker. You must take action and decision. It is not that you are going to be with her all through the life. You can call it quits and quit. So it could be a good idea to call them quits, and with a very well informed decision. It should not be continued, because it will only lead to more destruction of values, more destruction of harmony, and maybe create more gaps between man and a woman. So if the whole intent is such that there is compromise formula which can be worked out, it should be definitely tried. But provided one of the intent is to opposite direction, then it is no use prolonging the same thing and working with those tensed relationship, stressed relationship for long, and it's better that they call off the relationship.
Karun, what happens when men in powerful position like government officials, diplomats, politicians, or police commissioner, or perhaps people in the VIPs list, they behave foolishly and are seduced by the lure of women and kind of dole out important business secrets or important government information. So sometimes the woman uses her fairer sex to exploit men in powerful position, like to get her work done. Either it can be from a politician or from a film producer or from a corporate head, to get her work done. So what happens in when she uses sex as a political tool to get what she wants? Then what can be the repercussion?
Right, this temptation is well known from the previous lives, but still I say when these people are at a very responsible position, like armed forces, where they're, sharing, where they're falling down from that level, can create a lot of damage to the country, to the organization, then they should also be made aware of such kind of thing. And rightly said, the people are made aware. People are aware that such things can happen. People are aware that the women or the fairer sex can be used as a weapon to extract the information. So at that time, once you are aware that this thing can happen, you become more conscious. And when you become more conscious, you do something what your profession demands. Because there you are working in a professional capacity, not as a personal capacity. So seduction is something which is practiced in different countries, different way. It's like selling. You can sell, you can seduce. So if you consider seduce as a skill, it's altogether different. And the people at a higher position know that she is seducing me or he is seducing me, and they become extra precautions. In Cuba, I remember they play the games like that. One girl will go dancing and go to the man, and the man will say, no, I will not come. Then she will again do something, and the man will again say, I will not come. Then women will say again. So if they are not able to match, they will call it quits. So it's a skill. Seduction is not a crime. Seduction is something which is happening, which is a skill. If you want to learn it, if anybody wants to learn it, he can learn it and grow professionally too. If I just take a small example of importance of knowing and importance of being awareness of his caliber and his capabilities, Mr. Hanumanji, when he went to Sri Lanka, it was Jamwant who told him that you actually can fly over. Then only he flew over. Earlier he was having doubt whether he can do it or not do it. So once a person is known about his capabilities, known about his strength, it becomes easy for him to control such kind of response to actions.
So you mean to say that seduction is justified? A woman who uses seduction to get her professional demands fulfilled is justified?
No, I will call it seduction is a skill, which it's like a selling skill. Now you are saying that this is what I have it, and if you want to take it, you take it. So seduction is also a two-way process where the two people are there, man is there, woman is there, especially in the context we are talking about. So unless the man gets seduced, the woman's seduction will have no value. She can do any kind of acts, any kind of exercises, but if the man is not getting seduced, the process is not complete. So I mean to say, the seduction, when you consider as one perspective, everybody should learn seduction, because it's a kind of professionalism. How you are selling yourself, how you are getting a person to your side. It's also called persuasion. You can call it persuasion. But the person who is there, who is another subject of seduction, whether the man concerned in this case should get seduced or not, that is important. And if he is full with his ideas, his value systems, his controls, his perception of looking in totality, then he will not get seduced whatsoever the woman does it.
Karun, I have heard that Abraham Lincoln had said that a man at the age of 40, he must take charge of his face. Look at his face in the mirror and take responsibility for it. What I feel he meant was that we have to take responsibility for the causes that we have made, because the effects will manifest in our homes, in our daily life, and in our society and the world at large. So how do you think that man can really uplift himself from being victimized, or learn from the lessons that he has had with women, and really learn to polish himself and upgrade himself, so that he can leave an example for legacy and for future generation?
Right. It is an extremely important question, as anybody's life is concerned. What happens is that when you have a much nobler, much bigger goal in your life, your energies don't get diverted to such areas. You look at them, but you don't give any weightage to them. Your focus is very clear. It's like you are going from one place to another. but you are not looking at sightseeing. Those are only the sightseeings which can happen, you can find it, but your goal is very clear. And once your goal is very clear, once it is identified, once you are perceiving it day in, day out, then it pulls you into that direction. And normally nobody would have a goal which will be negative direction. No parents would like to have a goal in a direction where her son or his son wants to become a dacoit, a robber, a loose character. Everybody wants to have a goal which is going to be good for him, good for the society. So it is extremely important to have a goal, noble goal, and continue to have focus on that. If you are seeing day in, day out what is happening to your goal, you will automatically be more attracted towards that goal than those things which can seduce you or which can take you away from your designation, away from your path. Your journey has to be so good where your dedication to reach that goal is extremely important for you, and you must practice it. So focus is extremely important.
So Karun, there are about many misguided men, foolish men in our society who are led astray by temptation or by wrong women in their life. So how do you think that they can be guided and protected from taking wrong decision and being manipulated? What is your final take to our millions of viewers watching us worldwide?
The conclusion which as per our discussion it has led to, the extremely important thing is that you should have a holistic approach. You should look at the end in mind. You should be able to perceive that where this action can take you to, and then be aware, be responsible for that action. Second part, you must have a confidence of your capabilities. You must be aware about of your capabilities, that you can control yourself. Your response can be in the light of your bigger happiness, of a larger goal. And third thing that can help as a man, if you have a goal, if you have a focus, which is a noble focus, which is not only good for you, your family, your country, your social system, but it is also it's achievable goal. So you must focus on that. You must keep a very well written goal and try to see that you will continue to get guided. You will continue to get pulled by that thing. So three things I will repeat again. Begin with the end in mind. Second thing, you be aware about your capabilities. You can do it. And third thing is, keep a focus on a goal which is noble goal, which is an ideal goal. It will lead to your higher heights and will not allow you to get distracted by the side scenes which can take you in other direction than the indicated. Thank you so much.
Cleopatra VII, who was the Empress of Egypt. She was an epitome of sensuality, playfulness, passion and romance. However, her approach towards getting her things or getting her prestige and supremacy over the rulership of Egypt were very vicious, and approach was very wrong. She got married to her younger brother, to gain supremacy over the rulership of Egypt. After that, when she was fled from Egypt, when she was thrown out of Egypt, she went to Rome and seduced the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar. Her affair or romantic inclination with Julius Caesar bore her a child and also entitled her to the throne of Rome. Cleopatra offered a political alliance to Julius Caesar and asked her to get back her Egypt, her homeland, her motherland, where she loved her people and she wanted it back at any cost. After getting back Egypt, she not only really ruled over Egypt for some time, but after Caesar's death, she immediately found another lover for herself, Mark Antony, another powerful man. And after having a scandalous affair with him, both Mark Antony and Cleopatra committed suicide. Her scandalous affair with Mark Antony enraged the Romans, and they felt insecure and attacked Egypt, as a result of which both Mark Antony and Cleopatra had to commit suicide. History will always remember Cleopatra as a seductress who took advantage of her beauty and position to gain supremacy over powerful men and used sex as a political tool to get what she wanted. She took advantage of all the men in order to retain her emperorship or rulership of Egypt. At a young age of 39, Cleopatra had to give up her life, and her short-sightedness led to the defeat of Egypt, her motherland. Imagine, just think about it. What if the same Cleopatra was guided by a good value system? She was guided by a good friend, a good belief system, then how her fate and her destiny of her motherland would have been different. Had this Cleopatra really transformed herself on a spiritual level, on an inner transformation, and expanded her vision, expanded her state of life to reach out to her countrymen, that instead of going to war and kind of really declaring war on the neighboring countries, had she really nurtured her countrymen, nurtured her brothers, trained her in the art of humanism, in peaceful dialogue, then how the fate and the destiny of her country would have been different. She would have risen as a woman of real substance and contributed to her motherland. This same Cleopatra, who would have risen as a queen of hope, a queen of goodwill, and really stood up among her people to unify her neighboring countries, that is Rome and Greece, and unified that entire continent through soft persuasive power, through soft dialogue, peaceful dialogue, perhaps sending peace missionaries to her neighboring countries, then the entire destiny of Egypt would have changed into a civilization, a culture of civilization and a culture of humanism, which is the requirement of the 21st century, which is a century of soft power, century of humanism. Sarah believes that the power of the spirit, that is of truth, honesty, justice and integrity, is far more powerful than the power of seduction, false intentions to cheat men and lead them on a wrong path or cause the destruction of home, country or an entire empire. Sarah believes that the power of the spirit, that is truth, honesty, integrity, is far more powerful than the power of the weapons or perhaps even power of seductions for false means or false prestige and superficial lifestyle. And coming back to men who grieve, cry and lament over their plight due to exploitation of women, don't even realize that they are the cause of their own suffering. They don't even realize that it is due to their own greed, anger and foolishness that they are being victimized and exploited by women. So personal responsibility, I would recommend personal responsibility. It is only by taking personal responsibility can you elevate your mental health as well as raise your supreme life and bring it the required dignity.
She wakes up like the morning sun. It's time to go, it's time to run. Sarah gives courage, Sarah gives joy. Together we'll learn to create a century of life and blessed lives of victory.